Buy a house as early as possible. Stop wasting money on rent. Real estate is the best investment. And if you don't follow this advice, it feels like you're falling behind in life, like you're making a mistake. But what if I told you buying a house early might be one of the worst financial decisions you can make? Not for everyone, but for most people. And the scary part is, you won't realize it until years later, when you're stuck financially, mentally, and sometimes even emotionally. Let's break this down, because this is not just about real estate. This is about how one decision can quietly control your entire life. The moment you decide to buy a house early, you're not just buying property, you're buying a commitment, a long-term financial obligation that most people underestimate. It's not just the price of the house, it's the EMI, the interest, the maintenance, the taxes, the repairs, the hidden costs nobody talks about. And suddenly, your monthly income is no longer yours, it's already allocated, before you even earned it. Think about that. You haven't even made the money yet, but it's already spent for the next 15, 20, sometimes 30 years. That's not just a purchase, that's a lock. Now here's where it gets deeper. When your income gets locked, your life gets restricted. You can't take risks, you can't switch careers easily, you can't explore opportunities freely, because now you have pressure, a fixed obligation that doesn't care how you feel. So even if you hate your job, you stay. Even if you want to try something new, you hesitate, because your house depends on your income, and your income depends on your job. So now you're not working for growth, you're working for survival. This is what most people don't understand. A house doesn't just take your money, it takes your flexibility. And flexibility is one of the most valuable assets when you're young. Because your 20s and early 30s are not for stability, they're for growth, experimentation, risk-taking, building skills, building income, building options. But when you buy a house early, you trade all of that for stability too soon. Now let's talk about something most people ignore: opportunity cost. This is the money you could have made if your money was not locked in the house. Let's say you put a huge down payment. That money could have been invested. It could have been used to build a business. It could have been used to increase your income. But instead, it's sitting in a property, not generating cash flow, not growing fast, just sitting. And yes, real estate appreciates, but slowly and often unpredictably. Meanwhile, your financial potential is limited because your liquidity is gone. Liquidity means freedom. When you have cash or investments, you have options. When your money is locked in a house, you don't. You can't sell quickly. You can't access it easily. You can't use it when you need it. So even though you own something, you're actually less flexible. And in many cases, more financially fragile. Now let's talk about lifestyle pressure. The moment you buy a house, your expenses don't just increase, your expectations increase. You want better furniture, better interiors, better upgrades, because now it's your house. So spending increases, slowly but consistently. And this creates a new baseline, a new normal, which again requires more income to maintain. So the pressure builds quietly. And then comes the emotional trap. Once you buy a house, you feel like you've achieved something big, like you've made progress in life. And that feeling can slow you down, because now you're less hungry, less aggressive, less focused on growth. You start protecting what you have instead of building more. And that's dangerous, because wealth is built by growth, not by comfort. Let's also talk about a harsh reality. Most people don't buy houses because it's the best financial decision. They buy because of social pressure, family expectations, comparison. Everyone else is buying. I should also buy. It's time. But timing based on society is rarely the right timing for your life, because your financial situation, your goals, your mindset may not be ready. Now imagine this. Two people, same income, same starting point. One buys a house early, locks money, commits to EMI, reduces flexibility. The other delays, rents, invests aggressively, builds income, builds assets. For a few years, the first person looks more settled, more stable, more successful. But give it time, the second person builds something invisible: options, freedom, control. And eventually, that becomes visible. Now, don't misunderstand this. Buying a house is not bad, it's just timing that matters. Buying too early, without strong income, without investments, without flexibility is risky. But buying later, with stability, with assets, with control, that's powerful. Here's the mindset shift. Don't think of a house as a milestone. Think of it as a tool that should support your life, not restrict it. If it reduces your freedom, it's not helping you. If it increases pressure, it's not worth it yet. So instead of asking, when should I buy a house? Ask, can I afford this without sacrificing my freedom? Does this decision increase or decrease my options? Am I buying this for myself or for validation? Because those answers will tell you the truth. At the end of the day, money is not just about assets, it's about control. Control over your time, your decisions, your life. And the moment a purchase takes that control away, you need to question it. Even if everyone else is doing it, even if it feels right, even if it looks successful from the outside, because sometimes the smartest financial move is not doing what everyone else is doing. It's waiting, building, growing, and making the move at the right time. And here's something most people don't think about. A house doesn't just lock your money, it locks your decisions. Because the moment you have a long-term EMI, every decision becomes safer, smaller, more controlled. You stop thinking, what can I build? And start thinking, what can I protect? And that shift quietly kills growth, because growth requires risk, it requires uncertainty, it requires movement. But a house, especially early in life, pushes you towards stability before you're ready. And stability feels good, but it can also make you stagnant. Now think about this. What if instead of locking yourself into one location, one EMI, one financial structure, you kept your life flexible? You could move cities, chase better opportunities, take bigger risks, increase your income faster. Because when you're not tied down, you move differently, you think differently, you grow faster. And in the long run, that growth matters more than early ownership. Because a house can wait, but your prime years for growth cannot. So the real question is not, should I buy a house? The real question is, am I ready to trade freedom for stability right now? Because once you make that trade, it's not easy to go back. And most people realize this when it's already too late. So at the end of the day, this is not really about buying a house. It's about understanding timing. Because the same decision can either build your life or quietly limit it. Buying a house is not wrong, but buying it too early, without income strength, without flexibility, without a solid foundation, that's where the problem begins. Because from the outside, it looks like progress, but from the inside, it can feel like pressure. And most people don't talk about that part. They only show you the keys, the photos, the achievement, but they don't show you the stress, the restrictions, the compromises that come after. So don't rush into something just because it looks like success. Because real success is not ownership. It's control. Control over your time, your choices, your direction in life. And if a decision takes that control away, you need to question it. Even if everyone else is doing it, even if society says it's the right move. Because your life is not a checklist, it's a strategy. And the smartest people don't just make big decisions, they make them at the right time. So build your income, build your assets, build your freedom first. And then, when you're truly ready, buy the house. Not because you feel pressure, but because you have power. And that one difference changes everything. And there's one more thing most people ignore. A house doesn't just cost you money, it costs you time. Not directly, but through the decisions you stop making, the risks you avoid, the chances you don't take. Because once you're locked into a long-term commitment, you naturally become more careful, more conservative, more protective. And while that sounds responsible, it can quietly limit your growth. Because the biggest jumps in life usually come from bold decisions. Moving to a new city, switching careers, starting something uncertain, taking a break to build something bigger. But all of these require one thing: freedom. And when your financial life is already fixed, your ability to take those risks shrinks. So you stay in situations longer than you should. You tolerate things you shouldn't. You delay changes that could improve your life, all because walking away feels expensive. Now ask yourself, is that really what you want this early in life? To feel settled but stuck? Or would you rather feel uncertain but free? Because in the beginning, freedom looks uncomfortable. But in the long run, it gives you everything stability promises, and more. So don't just think about what a house gives you, think about what it quietly takes away. Because sometimes the cost of something is not what you pay for it, it's what you stop becoming because of it.